Hello, and welcome to the Badass Breastfeeding Podcast. This is Dianne, your lactation consultant, mother of three breastfed babes, and they are now in their early 20s, so they've survived my parenting, and also a maternal child health specialist and lactation consultant.
And I'm Abby, the Badass Breastfeeder, and I am from a social work background, and I have two kids. Jack is 14, and he was formula fed along with breastfed in the beginning, and then went on to breastfeed for a really long time. And then Exley's 11, and he was breastfed for a really long time too. If you don't know, I'm talking like 6.5 and 5 years old. And that's all. And today's sponsors are Original Sprout, which started as one mother's solution to her daughter's sensitive skin, is now a trusted line of vegan and cruelty-free favorites, like our favorites that we love. And we will talk more about Original Sprout later. But today's episode is also brought to you by Solid Starts. If you have ever thought, what food do I start with? Or how do I serve strawberries safely, or chicken, or just about any other food? Solid Starts is an app that will walk you through it step by step. And we'll hear more from that sponsor later as well. But you can head to badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com and check out our sponsor page. If you ever need anything, check there and see if you can give them any of your business, because they make this podcast possible. And we have tirelessly vetted all these people. So you can trust and know that these are good companies. And while you are there, scroll down, enter your email address, and we'll send episodes straight to your inbox every week. And we are on Patreon, and we've made changes to our Patreon, and we're well on our way. And it seems to be going pretty good. We've brought back our Revolution Parenting podcast, the podcast that we created many years ago and restarted. We started this podcast because we wanted to help bring kinder and more compassionate adults into the world. And we believe that this starts at home with how we parent our children. We talk about child development, discipline, boundaries, attachment parenting, and so much more. The only place that you can access this podcast is in our Patreon. We have 2 tiers, and each tier has multiple benefits, including a goodie bag of Thank You for Nursing in Public cards and podcast stickers sent to your home every month. Head to the top link in the show notes under this episode, wherever you're listening from, and see which tier looks best to you. And we're still hosting our ongoing giveaway for people who leave reviews around the internet, like on iTunes or stars on Spotify, wherever you're listening from. Leave a review, take a screenshot, send it along with your address to badassbreastfeedingpodcast@gmail.com, and we'll send you one of those goodie bags. If you can't leave a review, or you already have, or you, for some reason, your app doesn't allow you to, then just share the podcast. We just want to get the word out there. So share it on your socials, do whatever, take a screenshot and send that along as well. We want to reward you for helping us get the word out. And if you have a breastfeeding photo that you would be okay with me sharing on social media, send that as well to badassbreastfeedingpodcast@gmail.com with a little bit about yourself, or not. And we'll send you a goodie bag for that too. We like sending goodie bags, as you can tell. We do. And I think that's all that I've got. Now our review of the week comes from Dianne.
It does come from me. Well, it doesn't really come from me, but it says, so informative and reassuring. I wish I'd found this podcast when I first had my son, who is now 3. He was formula fed, and managing bipolar disorder with medication made me think breastfeeding wasn't possible. When I became pregnant again, I did a ton of research and found support through a psychiatrist and a lactation specialist. At her 6-month appointment, I was told by her pediatrician that I shouldn't be comfort nursing my daughter because she would develop a bad relationship with food, and breast milk wasn't nutrient dense enough to keep up with her growth. I know. I wanted to continue breastfeeding, but felt torn. So I started to search for info on how to wean and came across one of your episodes, which I'm so grateful for. Not only have I continued to breastfeed because I know it's what's best for my baby, but I also feel confident and empowered by hearing other women's stories. And she also said to us when she sent this email, because she sent this via email, when she sent her address for her goodie bag, which I haven't mailed yet. It's on the way. It'll be on the way soon. She said, I just wanted to say how much I love your podcast. It's honestly been the only podcast I've found where you both keep it real, not just about breastfeeding, but also your journeys with motherhood. I'm now binging the Revolution Parenting podcast and love every episode so far. So thank you for being a Patreon member as well.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. And so also to be real, as she said, it costs money to be in Patreon. And that money is useful to us because we manage a website, we manage, we have expenses. And so when you're in Patreon and you're getting all this good content, you're also helping, us provide this podcast for free and get all that good information out to you.
Yeah.
So it's a helpful thing. And thank you.
Thank you very much. And so glad you didn't listen to your pediatrician because
what?
Something as bad.
A bad relationship with food. What is that? How does that tell? How?
I don't understand. Yeah. I don't get that.
And it's not nutrient dense enough. Actually, breast milk is like the most nutrient dense thing there is.
Yeah.
It's just wrong. The information is just wrong. And and then people are confused like her.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that she was looking for information about weaning, but still came across our stuff because if you're looking to wean, we have information about that too.
Yeah, we do.
I start this podcast with my flex, I breastfed for 6.5 years and 5 years. I wouldn't do that again. I wouldn't. I'd be all right, year 2 or whatever. I'd go because I believe that breast milk, But I think at some point now I would be all right, that's enough.
Yeah. And that's why we have episodes on weaning.
Right. So that's part of breastfeeding.
Yeah, it's part of breastfeeding. And I always feel bad when people don't want to ask about that to me because they're afraid I'm going to talk them out of it or something. And it's no, I'm not going to. I'm going to help you do it the correct way. I'm not going to screw up your whole plan or anything like that.
Yeah. No one's trying to make you breastfeed.
No. Mm-mm. Not at all.
That's that. Remember that we did that episode on that New York Times article where she was trying to get information about weaning or something. And she said the lactation consultant looked at her like she was an alien.
Yeah.
I'm what? I don't even believe that happened.
I know. I don't either. I do also love that she mentioned that she went through a psychiatrist and a lactation specialist and they helped her. And I think that is really important to note.
Oh, yeah.
That you can breastfeed on medications for psych situations.
Mm-hmm.
She had bipolar and wanted to be able to, breastfeed on her medications. And you can absolutely do that.
Yeah. Take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Take your meds. You got to do that. I sent you a picture of this when I took Jack and Exley when they had their annual physicals, whatever. And we were in the room and on the table in the room was Dr. Hale's big book of medications and breastfeeding.
Yeah. Medications
book.
in mother's milk. Yeah.
Yeah. I was see, I knew I liked this guy.
Yes.
So he's not oh no, you can't. He's let me look that up for you.
I love it.
I also stuck one of the badass breastfeeding cards in there.
Oh, cool. Did you?
I did.
Awesome. I love it. It's fantastic. But today we're going to talk about exclusive pumping, which is another thing that I think people think that we're against as lactation specialists.
Right. I don't know why. We're not. You're giving breast milk. That's the whole point.
Right. It's the whole point. I mean, my only thing with exclusive pumping is that it's so hard. And I think it's hard to keep up. And some people are just warriors and they just make it work in their life. and it's amazing to me. And I think they're fantastic.
No, I feel like a lot of things about breastfeeding, pumping, anything about parenthood, it's very rarely like, oh yeah, I totally wanted to do this from the beginning. Like you find yourself dealing with situations and having to like push through them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, I'm sure some people are like, I'm going to pump and that's just what I want to do. And that's great. But I feel like more often than not, people just sort of find themselves in the situation.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
But I think this came from somewhere, a comment or something where somebody was like, they wanted to hear stories of different stories of people's exclusive pumping journeys.
So we got some stories.
Yeah, we got some stories. Well, we can start with one that came from Patreon, from one of our Patreon members, exclusively pumped. Should we start there?
Yeah, let's start there and see what she has to say.
All right, where's the beginning of it? Oh, here it is. Okay. I did for the first 4 months of feeding with my NICU baby. 4 things saved my sanity. Having enough pump parts to get through the night and work day so I could just wash everything while making and cleaning up for dinner. Oh, if I can find a picture of what that looked like, I'll send it to you. And she did. I can put these somewhere, or I'll put them on social media. Having 2 Sarah's Chills with extra chambers in the freezer. This way, there was always something clean to go if I forgot to freeze a chamber or wash one night. There was a backup plan. I also like not having a bag or having ice packs at work. My Walmart special 5 cubic foot freezer. It took the pressure off of juggling food versus milk space in the freezer. At the time, I didn't know what an oversupply was, so I was super confused why it was so stressful trying to store all this milk. I had some at the caretaker's house and two friends in case power went out before I had the freezer and had no room. Finding 2 regulars on local... Number 3 was the freezer. Number 4 is finding 2 regulars on a local Human Milk for Human Babies chapter. I started donating half the freezer every time I'd fill it.
Wow.
Yeah. It was a relief. I wasn't feeling creative to make like soap or something. Yeah, who can do that with like a newborn in the NICU? Jeez. And it made me feel better not to just toss it. I was kind of naive that I didn't know how hard it was to find donor milk. So I didn't understand why the first mom almost cried when I gave her 2 shopping bags full. But after listening to the podcast so long, I realized that like not the normal amount and like a social media amount of pumping. The other thing I recommend to people going back to work is to have an extra shirt and bra stashed in your desk for accidents if you're using cups. More than once, I had an oops moment. I used a Spectra 2 at home and a Baby Buddha with legendary cups while driving at work. I think because I had exclusively pumped for the first baby and not the second, by the time I got to pumping for number 2, I found it kind of annoying. With number 1, it was just what it was, so it didn't bother me that much. And then after she sent me pictures, she sent me a little bit more, which I found this really interesting. So she says, this situation was all during COVID. And so the photos that she sends are a bit blurry. And she says it's because it was during COVID, so our phones had to be in plastic bags after being disinfected while in the NICU. It was wild being there in 2021. We'd have to check into the hospital downstairs, then go up to the NICU. If you were going to the NICU, you could enter the hospital before the wave of normal visitors. At the NICU door, you'd have to get scanned in, wash your hands, and get new masks. Bag your electronics, wash again once in the room. We had semi-private rooms at this hospital. And I'd swap my sweater for one I wore through the hospital with the one I kept in the room. When my daughter was born, they had just started to let parents into the semi-private rooms at the same time. Up until then, you had to rotate, so there were never more than 2 adults at the same time. These photos were just over 2 weeks after she was born 10 weeks early.
Wow.
So, oh my God. Exclusive pumping, baby in the NICU, and it's COVID.
Oh my God. I can't.
Ay, ay, ay. All right. What are you hearing as a lactation consultant and all of that?
She has some really great tips there. Like having the extra parts, having that spare refrigerator, having the Serious Chills. She had it really like, she had managed it really well.
Yeah. And knowing her through Patreon, it's like very on brand.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's very organized and she's very meticulous and thoughtful is what I pick up from her. So that sometimes it's just like personality traits that get you through things.
Yeah, I totally agree with that because I think for me, it would be chaotic.
Yeah, I think some people would just have a panic attack the first day and be like, all right, forget it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I would be totally chaotic. And not knowing where my stuff was and being like, where's my flanges? I think I'd be a little bit more chaotic. But she has some really great tips there. And I think she handled it really well, especially considering that all of that she was considering, like 10-week early baby is really early.
That's a really early baby. Yeah.
Really early baby. That's a lot of trauma with the NICU. And then like during COVID times and stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot to bend over to. I mean, it's just really bad. And she came out of it smelling like a rose.
And now she's in our Patreon, also like contributing and participating, and it's like Jesus.
And then she's got the second baby, and I think it's really normal for the like if you did a lot of pumping with the first one, I think it's really normal the second time around to be like, I don't want to look at this pump again.
Oh my God. Yes. I mean, it's like I can't even. It's like you probably have like a physiological reaction to seeing a pump.
Yeah.
And like there lies the trauma, right? In your body, like reacting to even just seeing a pump.
Well, it brings back all the other trauma too.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's like the trigger.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's so much. What a great
job. Let me read a couple of these Facebook comments before we do the ad break. Okay, so Lindsay on Facebook says, tried to breastfeed, but my nipples weren't the easiest to work with, and I had to use the shield for every feeding. I feel like he wasn't getting the full amount with the shield being a hindrance. He was spending more time on the boob than not. I gave up after a month and exclusively pumped for 2 years after that. The main challenges were keeping milk cold while traveling, but I loved that I could plan my day around pumping schedules, and I loved having a backup supply. Loved the freedom of others being able to feed him while I ran out alone. Plus, I knew how much he was getting per feed as well. No guessing if he was still hungry. I love that she's got like all these like benefits because they're like, there's benefits to it too.
Yeah. Yeah. And she she sounds like one of those people who really is into knowing like exactly what her baby is getting. That can be a very like anxiety driven thing with breastfeeding. And it sounds like that she turned that around and made that a benefit for herself.
Yeah, because breastfeeding wasn't going well. And, when you're struggling with that, and then you find that you're exclusive pumping. And for some people it just feels better. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then Nikki, she says, my daughter was hospitalized a day before she turned a month. She had multiple medical things, and our lack of support led to my supply being gone by then. I started pumping every 2 hours so the hospital would give breast milk a chance. We found them every step of the way, but I pumped for her every 2 hours for 9 months.
Wow.
She would take breast milk by mouth, but not the formula. So that went through her G-tube. It was a lonely, hard road. I wanted to office space that pump. See, this person listens.
Yeah.
And she's referring to me always talking about how in the movie The Office Space, they take the printer out back and they bash it up with bats to the song, Damn, It Feels Good to Be a Gangster. And I feel like every one of you should do that with your pump at the end of the journey. She said, my story is more showing the lack of quality support than a happy pumping story. I'm grateful we were able to use a high grade pump. I'm grateful for every drop I was able to give her. And every drop that you gave her made a difference.
Oh, it made a huge difference, especially with a baby that's medically fragile.
Yes.
It is going to make all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
To have that breast milk. So you did an amazing thing. And I think that in that kind of a situation, it's just such a driver to keep going.
Yeah.
Because you really just want your baby to have that milk.
Yeah. 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 And she said she's not super happy about it. But you do what you can.
Mm-hmm.
And you gave your baby breast milk. I mean, that's really the bottom line.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
All right, let's take a break and then we'll come back and hear some more stories.
Okay.
Today's episode is brought to you by Solid Starts, the app that helps you feel calm and confident when it's time to introduce food to your baby. Inside of this app, you'll find a huge first foods database with simple, age-appropriate serving guidance, plus recipes, practical guides, and tools created by a team of pediatric pros, including feeding specialists, pediatric dietitians, pediatricians, and pediatric allergists. The Solid Starts app also walks you through how to safely introduce common food allergens like peanuts and eggs to your baby. Making sure you know when to start, how to offer them, what high risk actually means, and how to build regular exposure in a way that feels doable. It's designed for real life, busy days, messy meals, and all the questions that pop up in between. Whether you're just getting started or you're troubleshooting gagging, overstuffing, or picky faces, Solid Starts is like having a supportive expert in your pocket. And for badass breastfeeders, Solid Starts is offering a discount 25% off your first year of annual subscription with code BADASS. You can either enter code BADASS in the app through the App Store when you're signing up, or easier, just scroll down into the show notes under this episode, wherever you're listening from, and you'll see a direct link in the Solid Starts section of the thing. You'll see it. And click it, and the code will already be applied, and you can just get the app that way. Highly recommend. It's an awesome, awesome concept. And today's episode is also brought to you by Original Sprout. And Original Sprout is quickly becoming Dianne and I's favorite bathroom companion.
Yes.
I really like having just the concept of just having like one thing in the bathroom, like for a newborn baby, for myself, and for my husband. You know, like the shampoo, the conditioner, the body wash. It's good for all of us.
Yeah.
And it's effective. You know, it's gentle for your baby. It doesn't have like chemicals in it, like the phthalates or the parabens or the sulfates and stuff that we worry about, or the essential oils that we worry about with our newborns. It's not in there, but you can also wash your grimy head of hair as an adult and feel very clean. And then you get all the extra stuff too, like the curl cream and the hair oils and the gels and the everything that makes you look like a stellar beauty.
They have all the things.
Yeah, they have all the things, and you can just fill up the I almost said mantle, the shelf or whatever you've got in there. If you have a mantle in your bathroom, that's awesome. I guess some people do. But Original Sprout is vegan, is cruelty-free, and it is safe for breastfeeding, safe for your newborn. And you can check out the entire line at originalsprout.com and use code BADASS26, and you can get 25% off of your entire order. So run and check them out and stock up. And all of our sponsors and their promo codes can be found in the show notes under this episode, wherever you're listening from. Also, over at badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com, you'll find all of our sponsors. You'll find our favorite resources. You'll find all of our other episodes and information about scheduling your very own one-on-one online lactation consultation with Dianne. And we have another pumping story over here, and it goes like this. My name's Kat. I'm 26 years old with a 4-month-old baby boy. I just discovered your podcast and I'm obsessed. My pumping journey started after having an emergency C-section. My son was not responding well during my contractions, and the doctors said they could go a few options to get him out vaginally or go straight to a C-section for a safer delivery. Obviously, I chose the safest option for my baby. After delivery, he was rushed away by nurses and then was life flighted to another NICU so he could get the help he needed. Ugh. I spent 3 whole days away from him. Oh my God. Which was the biggest heartache I've ever experienced. While I was in the hospital, I started my pumping journey almost immediately. My nurses told me that once my milk came, my partner would be able to take it to my baby and they would be able to give it to him for feeds. I pumped every 2 hours while trying to get my thoughts and emotions in order. I was only producing a drop or 2 if I would get anything at all, which was so discouraging and made me feel like I was failing my baby. Thankfully, the NICU he was in supplied donor milk, which I was discharged. When I was discharged, I was able to head to my baby, and when we were reunited, it felt like pure bliss. Even though I watched him with a heavy heart as he was hooked up to machines and tubes, my milk came in the next day, and I was so relieved. My body knew it just needed to be with my baby. We tried latching with the help of a lactation consultant, but with everything that went on, it just didn't work for my baby and I. So I exclusively pumped. We stayed in the NICU with him for 2 weeks until we were discharged to go home. Once we were home, I was producing about 3 to 4 ounces for about a month. 4 months postpartum now, and I'm finally pumping about 7 to 9 ounces each pump every 5 hours and couldn't be more proud of what my body can do. I have no tips or tricks other than as a full-time mom who's exclusively pumping, you and other mamas got this. And exclusive pumping is breastfeeding. Love this.
Mm-hmm.
This is so, well, I don't love it because it's filled with trauma. But sorry, there's a dog banging at the door.
Yeah, she definitely had a lot going on here. And this was a way for her to like rebound, I think, from everything that they dealt with.
Yeah.
Because it was obviously a lot. And I wish that the hospital had showed you how to hand express your colostrum so you could get colostrum for your baby instead of just pumping it. Colostrum does not pump well, as you found out. You might get a pump, like, it doesn't, it's so sticky, it's so thick, it just doesn't pump well. It sticks to the flanges, it doesn't drip into the thing. Like, it just.
Yeah, you want to hand pump that.
Yeah, you want to definitely like hand express that. And
hand express, not hand pump.
Because you're looking at it and you're like, why is nothing happening? Why is my body not doing this for me? And it just, especially all the, then you're separated from your baby and you're trying to recover from an emergency C-section. Oh my gosh, it's so much. It's so hard. And then trying to breastfeed a baby that's hooked up to like all those wires and all these things and in the NICU where it's so unprivate and it's just it's so unnatural. It really does. It feels so unnatural. And I'm glad that she was able to pump for her baby.
Yeah, and it is really very telling that her milk came in right when she got to her baby.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Her body is just like, oh, there he is.
There's my baby. So I'm glad everything is going good now.
Yeah, and you're right. It is breastfeeding. You're giving your baby the breast milk. That's like really what, like the bottom line is what is going to make the long-term difference.
Whoever said that it wasn't? Did somebody ever say that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. People say that. Well, pumping's not breastfeeding because your baby's not latching on. So they're not, doing that part.
Whatever.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just so dumb.
What? Just shut up. Why does everything have to be so? That's why there's people like extreme people that say like if you cover up when you're breastfeeding in public, that you're not really breastfeeding in public or something.
Ugh,
I'm like, can we stop? Why do we have to do this?
So annoying.
I mean, these are like the extreme people.
Oh,
all right, we've got one more story.
All right. Bring it.
Let's see. I'm a listener and a huge fan of your podcast for almost 3 years now.
Oh.
I listened to all of your episodes, and I even re-listen to random episodes before I go to sleep. Don't get me wrong, but you help me fall asleep.
Oh my God, I love it.
Not because you're boring, but because you relax me. And whenever I fall asleep in the middle of an episode, I continue listening to it the next evening. I co-sleep with my daughter. She's 2 years and 10 months old. You can imagine how my sleep was up until about a year ago. So you have always been my angels in almost all tough nights. Oh. My daughter was born at 37 weeks and 4 days with C-section. My milk came in after 2 days. The nurses who were not lactation consultants were all opinionated, starting from flat nipples to rolling their eyes when they had me pump 50 milliliters of milk, literally with blood from my nipples because it was too little milk. Can you imagine? Unbelievable. One of them was even squeezing my nipples to help me with the milk flow. As my daughter had trouble latching, all that led to bleeding nipples that recovered after 2 months. This is what happens when you live in a small European country with only one lactation consultant. Every time she latched, I was crying from pain. The support from the pediatrician was horrible. He immediately suggested formula, and she was a few grams below the normal, not even counting that they scheduled the appointment 2 days earlier than needed. But he freaked us out, and we gave her formula a few times when I thought I didn't have enough milk, which was not true. This made me believe that I need to pump and always have a stash for her. I recently understood, or finally got all the pieces to form an opinion with high probability of being correct with my breastfeeding journey, why my breastfeeding journey sucked. I never thought that her not having strength to suck plus immediately falling asleep when trying to breastfeed was because she was born at 37 weeks. But now I know, thanks to you. It took her a few weeks to get strength, but in the meantime, I was pumping and got an oversupply. At one point, I was pumping a little over a liter of milk per day. That's about 34 ounces. And yes, she was overfed. She was an overfed baby, luckily super cute. So I got another problem. Often she was coughing and choking with milk when I breastfed her. Thanks to you, unfortunately, after it had already happened, I learned that this led to her refusing my breasts at about 4 months and finally not wanting them at all at 6 months. I did everything, but she was screaming whenever I tried, even while sleeping. It's the worst feeling ever. But I never quit. I was pumping from when my milk came in until she was about 16 months old. I had stash for about 2 more months. She was drinking my milk for about 18 months. I hated every bit of pumping, but I did it anyway. I hated that it was taking several hours of every day, but I did it anyway. I was complaining about it, but I did it anyway. I never wanted to stop too soon. All I ever wanted was for her to drink my milk. There was no excuse, no matter how hard it was. I was feeling bad when I decided to pump less and less and finally stop pumping, but I think I did a good job overall, and I'm not sorry for any decision that I made. Thank you for being a part of my breastfeeding story. I don't plan on stopping to listen to you anytime soon. I learned a lot from you and will continue learning.
Wow.
That's amazing.
And yeah, she had such little support. I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Yeah.
Because you had horrible support in the hospital. Nobody should ever roll their eyes at you.
I can totally, having lived in Europe, I'm not sure what country she lives in, and I asked her for her address so that I could send her a goodie bag. And she said, I'll get back to you with my address as soon as the post office starts working properly again. They're not delivering packages, or there's a huge delay due to some new regulations. So I'm not sure where she is. But yeah, I can imagine having lived in Europe, people rolling their eyes at you.
That's just crazy.
Not everybody. Don't get mad if you're in Europe right now. Just like, I can see it. I can see it.
But she really had some, and the whole 37-week thing. I mean, and we've done episodes on this, so that's why
I think that's why she knows. Yeah.
Yeah. I learned from you guys that 37-weekers just don't breastfeed well. And she figured that out the hard way, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And didn't know. But I love how she says, she did it anyway. She hated it and just did it anyway. And I think that's how a lot of exclusive pumpers feel because it is so much work. And she was pumping a great amount of milk that the baby was able to grow and thrive from. So I think that when you see that your baby is thriving, that really gives you that extra boost to keep going. And she just did an amazing job.
And the nurse is squeezing her nipples.
What is that?
Don't do that. What? Don't touch me. You don't need to touch me.
I know. Yeah, that's unnecessary. Unnecessary behavior.
Everything is bleeding. The milk's coming out. It's got blood in it. This is not. Oy.
That's not how it should be.
No.
And I'm sure that's not how she ever imagined it would be. I mean.
Yeah, right.
So she took this and she turned it into something good. And that's just fantastic on her part, because I think a lot of people would have stopped and would have given up.
Yeah. I mean, I remember, I feel like this is what happens when you're when you are a new parent, because I felt this way with Jack. I really wanted to breastfeed, and we left the hospital with all this formula and formula feeding. It was the whole thing, breastfeed on one side for 10 minutes, then the other side for 10 minutes, and then give a bottle. Oh, it's this whole thing. And I just saw the breastfeeding that I was really hoping to do just slip away. And I just dug my heels in, and I was like, I want to make this work. And I feel like I was just later on, I was like, who was that? Who was it that took over and did all those things? And I could, it's the new mom in us.
Yeah.
You just get this, and everybody's doesn't work out the same way, but I feel like we all find that person in us.
Yeah, that's how it was with the twins.
Yeah.
I mean, the twins got formula for the first month. And it was kind of the same thing. I remember my doctor being like, oh, you can just breastfeed for one feed and formula feed for the other, and that's fine. And I was like, no, that's not what I want to do. That's not what I want.
Oh,
and same thing, just kind of dug my heels in and tried to figure it out. And it was, it was hard, but figured it out. And then they never received formula after the first month.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you just dig in, and you're like, what do I need to do for my baby? And it's a lot. Really surprised sometimes at the things you can do.
Yeah.
Even when you don't want to.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you don't have a choice. It's you feel like you don't have a choice. So it's when you hear people they watch someone give birth and oh, women are just amazing. This the things that you can do. And it's well, okay, thanks. But also, what's the choice? Where's the choice in that?
Yeah.
You don't have a choice. And so the only way is through.
Yeah.
Anyway, those are our stories.
Thank you so much for listening to our story. And for the people who sent them in, thank you so much for sharing.
Yes,
because you're going to help other people, I think, from this.
Yeah, and there were so many different perspectives, too, kind of positive spins and not happy, and obviously
different
all
reasons.
The trauma. Yeah, different reasons. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.